Shut up your mouth and stay still, he yelled at Oma. Uncle, what are you doing? Please stop, you're hurting me, she said with tears in her eyes. But he ignored the young girl's tears and cries and went ahead to force himself on her. A calm and serene village called Mbise in the eastern part of Nigeria lived a very homely man, Mr. Nwankwo, and his beautiful wife. Mr. Nwankwo is a trader and a transporter. He transports traders' goods to different parts of the community with his wife, who also goes to other communities to sell their goods. Mr. Nwankwo has a beautiful daughter called Omasirichi, very beautiful and young. One day, Mr. Nwankwo traveled with his wife to another community to sell goods and to transport other traders' goods to other community for sale. Then, they had a ghastly motor accident on their way coming back, which resulted to the death of Mr. Nwankwo and his wife. Oma became an orphan. On the day of the burial of her parents, her uncle, Mr. Ndo, came back to the village to bury his brother, Nwankwo. After the burial, the family saw that Omasirichi cannot stay in the village alone because she was only 11 years old. They decided that Uncle Ndo will take Omasirichi along with him to Aba, where he resides with his family. Omasirichi packed her things and followed her uncle to Aba. Uncle Ndo loved his brother so much that he vowed to take care of his little niece, Omasirichi. When they got to Aba, Uncle Ndo introduced Omasirichi to his wife and his 3 sons, who welcomed Oma into the family. But that was how the story of the young, beautiful Oma turned from happiness to deep sorrow. Uncle Ndo's wife, Obianuju, is a very mean and wicked woman. She maltreated Omasirichi. In the absence of Ndo, her husband, she maltreats Omasirichi, sends her on errands that are bigger than her. But whenever Uncle Ndo comes back during the weekend, everybody pretends to love Oma. They pet her, feed her well. But once Uncle Ndo travels for his business, they continue from where they stop. They maltreated Omasirichi. Sometimes she goes 3 days without food. She will fetch the water. She will mop the whole house. In tears, she will keep crying and calling upon her late parents to come and help her. Few months later, Oma hit 13 years old. Uncle Ndo's sons began to notice her. One afternoon, the first son called Oma into his room. When Oma got to his room, he started touching her inappropriately. Oma could not understand what was happening, but she knew deep down in her heart that what he is doing is wrong. He locked the door. Then he forcefully shoved her to the bed and stick his hands into her private areas. Forcefully. Oma wept in pain as she said, "Uncle, stop. Stop, you're hurting me. Stop," in tears. But he continued until he forcefully forced his genitals into her private part. He covered her mouth with his hands so that she would not make any noise. As the pain pierced her very being, she did not know what is happening. She could not explain what he is doing to her, but she knew that whatever he is doing to her is so painful and she couldn't bear it. She cried as she hit him, "Uncle, stop, you're hurting me. It's painful, stop." When he was done, then he threatened and said to her, "This will be our little secret. If I hear this in anybody's mouth or you say it to my mother or my father, I will cut off your head with a machete." Then he brought out a knife and threatened her with it. "Do you hear what I said?" he thundered at her. and Oma nodded in pain and in tears. All her clothes were full of blood. She stammered to her room and lay on her bed crying. She could not understand, why is this uncle doing such painful thing to me, she said to herself. What wrong have I done to him? As she sobbed, with her bed filled up with her tears. Meanwhile, when the first son was done, he came out. His other brothers saw him and laughed and told him what he has done. Then they threatened him and said, if you do not allow us to have our own way with Oma Sirichi and do to her the same thing you have done to her, we will report you to father and mother. The first son was scared. Then he accepted their conditions that they too will sleep with Oma Sirichi. That was how it all started. Day after day, they take their turns with Oma and threaten to kill her or deal with her if a word of it ever gets out to their parents. One day, Uncle Ndo came back from one of his numerous trips and called Oma to have a little chit-chat with her. Then he asked her, Oma, my dear, how have you been? How is your auntie and your brothers treating you? Hope they are nice to you. Oma nodded in affirmation. Then he said to her, talk to me, you know I can do anything for you. Talk to me, my dearest child. Hope you are happy. Oma opened her mouth and tears rolled down her cheek. She was just 14 and she has passed through so much pain that she doesn't know where to start from to explain to Uncle Ndo what has been happening whenever he is not around. How his sons take turns in molesting her whenever they want to and however they want to. When she mustered the courage to spill everything to Uncle Ndo, Uncle Ndo had an emergency call. Then he left her. Oma cried her eyes out. For a moment, she thought she was going to be free from all these shackles of pain around her. But Uncle Ndo, who is more interested in his work than what is going around him, left her standing as he went out to attend to his business. Oma went back to her room. She was in tears. She needed someone to talk to, but nobody was there for her. The abuse and molestation continued till she was 15 years old. One day, she started feeling so much pain around her lower abdomen. She could not understand what is happening, but she waved it away as one of the numerous pain that occurred whenever she is being molested and raped by the young men. But after some time, the pain became consistent. As the pain continued, Oma only endured the pain because she doesn't know who to talk to or who to complain to. One day, Uncle Undo's wife noticed some changes on her body. Then she called her and touched her breast. Oma shouted in pain. Then she touched her lower abdomen, which she cried in so much pain. Then she shouted, Chineke me, Bia Oma, are you pregnant? Oma looked at her auntie. She did not understand a bit of what she is saying, though she was scared. As her auntie asked her again, I said, are you pregnant? Then her auntie hit her and said, have you been sleeping around with all the boys on our street? She said to Oma. Oma said, no auntie, I have not been sleeping with any boys. It's your sons. She pointed at Uncle Ndo's sons. They forced themselves on me, Oma continued with teary eyes. They did it. Uju was confused as she confronted her sons and asked them, what is she talking about? They denied it at first, but later they told their mom everything. Their mom, in a bid to cover her sons, she told Oma to pack up her things. After Oma packed her things, she chased Oma out of the house and told her to go far away from that community. And if she catches her around anywhere close to her house, that she will kill her. Oma begged. Oma rolled on the ground. Oma cried, "Auntie, where do you want me to go to? I don't know anybody here. Please, Auntie, forgive me. If I have done anything wrong, forgive me. I will not tell anybody. I will not say anything to anybody. Please, Auntie, don't chase me away. I don't have anybody to go to. Please, Auntie." She cried. But the woman has made up her mind as she chased Oma away and told her not to come back to her house again. Oma cried as she walks through the road path. She doesn't know anybody and she has nobody to run to. She was just an orphan who is barely 16 years old. What is she going to do? The cruelty of men. Oma walked through the path as she cried. She cried to God to help her, but it was as if the heavens were silent. Scared of the threat from her auntie, she walked as fast as her leg could carry her. Oma got to an uncompleted building and decided to put her head down for the night. As she lay and slept outside the cold, she prayed and said to God, "If you couldn't save me from the hands of my brothers and my auntie, at least save me as I lay out on the open. Don't allow anything to happen to me," she said. She prayed as she closed her eyes and slept. In the morning, she decided to look for what to do because she was so hungry. She went out and begged people for money. The passerby gave her some money which she used in eating. Then after a few weeks, she said to herself she needs to do something. Then she went to a nearby shop and begged the owner of the shop to give her water to sell. That was how Oma started selling water. She would go out on the road and hawk the water. After hawking the water, she would take her own gain and return the main money to the woman. Then she will go back to the uncompleted building where she sleeps every night. Back in the house of Uncle Ndo, who came back after a long journey, only to realize that Oma, his brother's only child, is nowhere to be found in his house. He asked his wife where Oma is. The wife lied and said to him, "I sent her out to buy something some few months ago and she did not come back. I searched for her everywhere," she lied. "We couldn't find her. We even went as far as going to the police station to report the case, but she was nowhere to be found." Uncle Ndo was scared, angry at the same time, different emotions running through his head as he jumped out of his house in search of Oma. He searched every corner of that community. He couldn't find Oma. Then he went back to the police station. He reported the case to the police station, which the police searched for Oma, but she was nowhere to be found. Not even a trace of her. It was as if she vanished into the thin air. Uncle Ndo came back to the house. He was broken and he blamed himself for not paying so much attention, close attention to his brother's child. Every day, the guilt filled his heart as he is always searching and looking around for Oma. Back to where Oma is, her stomach keeps getting bigger by the day as the child in her womb developed fully. Oma did not relent in her efforts. She kept struggling, providing for herself in one way or the other. It's either she is hawking water or she is hawking fruit and vegetables. The people in the community where Oma took refuge liked her and they helped her out one way or the other, though she always stayed at the uncompleted building, which the workers in that building have gotten to know her. Even the person in charge of the building work allowed her to always sleep in the building. One day, the owner of the building, Mr. Ikechukwu, came to inspect the work at his site. In the evening, he noticed a pregnant woman inside the building. Then he asked the person in charge of the work, who is she and what is she doing inside here? The engineer of the site explained Oma's situation to Mr. Ikechukwu, who looked at Oma with pity. But as they were still talking, Oma went into labor. Mr. Ikechukwu took Oma to the hospital, where he paid for everything. He paid for her delivery. Oma went into labor, but could not push because she was still a little girl. Then the doctor recommended to Mr. Ikechukwu the only thing that can save the life of Oma and her child is for them to carry out a cesarean section on her. Mr. Ikechukwu accepted and also paid for everything. Oma was wheeled into the theater where an operation was carried out on her. Then they brought out the child. When they brought out the child, it was a baby boy. Wow, he has a mark. He has a half moon mark on his shoulder. The nurse exclaimed as she showed it to other nurses. Oma Sirichi, who is half awake and half sleepy, heard what the nurse said before she slumped into darkness. Few days after she woke up, she said to the nurse, "Where is my baby?" The nurse said to her, "Oh, we lost your baby." Oma said, "No, it can't be. My baby is alive," she said to the nurse. Then they brought a dead child and gave to Oma, who remembered what the nurse said about a half moon tattoo on the shoulder of the baby. She checked for the tattoo, but she did not see it on the body of the dead baby. Then she said to the nurse, "This is not my child. Give me my child." The nurse said to her, "Your baby is dead." Oma was just an orphan who had no one to speak for her, no one to even contend with the hospital over the child. She only cried, but deep down in her heart, she knew that her child is still alive. She can feel it in her bone that her son did not die. Oma wondered and decided to go back to the uncompleted building where she has been all this while. When she got to the building, she was asked to pack out, to leave the building and never return. She said to the engineer of the site, "Sir, you have always allowed me to stay here all this while. You know I have no one or anywhere to go to. Please, sir, allow me to stay. I don't have anywhere else to go to." But the site manager said to Oma, "We cannot allow you to stay here anymore. Please, leave." She was shattered as she packed her things and left the building. As she was strolling down, she was thinking of all she has been through. Her life, her child, her parents, everything that has happened to her. She was crying bitterly and asking God, "Why have you forsaken me? Why have you allowed me to suffer as little as I am? I have no one." She cried as she walked down the road. She didn't see the car coming with full speed. As the driver of the car knocked her down, Oma fell with her belongings scattering in the air. But the driver of the car stopped and took her with him to the hospital while she was unconscious.